Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the first annual NETsn preseason poll show. It's your boy Brett Swinney here, alongside Vince and Corey. Guys, what's going on?
Man, what's
Nothing,
happening?
man.
Feel like it's been a whole season, whole year from.
Man,
Yeah.
it seems like it seems like I haven't talked to you. I mean, we chit chat on a chat every so often, but it seems like it's been a year since we've been here and had a show. So, what's been going on with y'all since we last talked? Anything exciting going on in
Work.
y'all's?
Work,
Yeah,
a lot of work,
yeah,
whole lot of work.
yeah.
Feel
I'm.
like,
Yeah. Last time I started a new position, so
yeah,
I'm trying to been. Listen, here's the thing though. When I started a new position, I sucked at it. Okay, I was pissed
Yeah.
off. I had sucked in my position. Okay, and I literally had to learn that on the fly. And I finally got to the point in time where I'm okay with it, and everything's kind of been flourishing. So I'm like, okay, good. So now we back to this is like, okay, now I gotta dust off the podcast stuff and get back to it.
Well. Speaking of back to this, it's kind of an expansion show. This year we're gonna cover the entire East Texas area of football. Lots of good teams this year in all classifications, up and down the lineup, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. We get to kind of branch out, talk about some teams that maybe we've mentioned on maybe a pick 'em challenge in the past. We'll still have that this season. We'll do our pick 'ems and pick every week. And those of you that are here with us are welcome to join along with us. Let's see. Speaking of that, let's see who we've got tonight. We got Chris tonight joining us. Good to see
Chris,
Chris
what's up,
tonight.
Chris?
what's up, Chris?
Been missing you. We got Hector calling Chapel Hill State Champs 2022. I like that prediction, Hector. It's good to hear from you. It's good to hear from you. We'll talk Chapel Hill next week. Is our 4A poll show will be next week. But tonight we're going to focus on 6A and 5A. And guys, first off, I just want to thank all our sponsors that we had last year, and we're looking for a sponsor for our show this year. So if you're interested in sponsoring our show, we'll have. I think Vince is going to be joining me a little bit this season on Dave Campbell's Texan Live via NETsn to cover Chapel Hill football. So we're looking for sponsors for that. So if you're interested in sponsoring that, sponsoring our show, we have basketball coming up that we're going to do some expanding. Corey's working on getting their schedule going for that. So if you got any teams that you're representing out there that you'd like to see on NETsn this year, let us know. We'll be doing that. And all our social media platforms, follow us. And I've got a special challenge here at the end for our Twitter account. Special challenge coming up. So it's going to be interesting for that. We got Chris again. He said he's ready for his son, his brothers, and his team to win state. Very good chance this year for them. Just
Well, I can't wait.
next. Oh, I know it's going to be an interesting one next week. But this week, our 6A and 5A, and what I want to do these polls, guys, and we kind of talked about breaking these shows up so we can really focus down on some teams, so we're not going for 6 hours at a time, or not be able to focus in on these teams and just kind of only focusing on kind of where our sweet spot has been is 4A over last year. I didn't realize the breakdown of the teams in the classifications, and we started digging through, to try to pick these polls, and I think y'all have the same sentiment. I was like, wait a second, we're doing a top 10, and I really can only find 11 teams.
Right. I missed one.
Without going too far, out. We want to really focus on our home base here in the Northeast Texas area, and I mean we're stretched it up to Texas high. That's pretty high up there, but that there's only 11 teams. I guess with all the shifting, Jacksonville dropping, and that 4A is really grabbed a hold of a lot of the area teams, which is why they'll have their own poll. But yeah, so when I went and listed these this week, we all voted, and just to kind of give you all an idea of how we're going to do this year, we're going to have our own poll here at NETsn for each classification, and we'll do that each week. We'll vote. Normally on our wrap-up show, we'll go back and talk about the weeks prior, and we'll make our votes, and we'll have that. We'll kind of go over it. It won't be as in-depth, but we'll give us each week our weekly poll, which we'll see those, and we'll kind of make our game selections off of the polls to kind of, if there's some big matchups, we want to make sure they get in our pick 'em challenge. So that's kind of how it's going to go. It'll be a segment each week. We'll just kind of go over it. This week, we want to really kind of break down the polls. We've combined we each get a vote. So we'll tally it just like a regular poll. First place gets 10 points all the way down to 10th place gets 1. I've got those combined. The guys haven't seen them yet. They don't know. I didn't give them the inside results. So they don't know how they fell. We'll kind of go over that. Y'all didn't see mine either. I didn't.
That is true. I was wondering about that.
I already had voted. So before y'all, I've already voted for all 3 polls. I'm already ahead. So I've put my votes in. But what we'll do is we'll announce the poll, and then we can give our opinions back and forth of why we voted this, and there'll be some differences of opinions as we always have. And so it should be a lot of fun. Anybody that's on live that wants to give an opinion, Brett, that was a terrible pick. Why did you pick that number 1? That's what this is for. The show is for y'all, the audience, to contribute and let us know if you have a difference of opinion. If you want to submit your top 10, go for it. This is an interactive show. We're welcome the interaction. So, y'all ready for me to announce?
I know I'm a bit crazy.
Do we want to just go like start down at the bottom and go to the top and work our way up?
That's fine.
Okay. All right. So, since there was only 11 teams, I went ahead and included the 11th team in there, just because since there's only 11, we'll just include them, and because that's probably going to fluctuate those bottom few as every week because of teams beating up on each other around here. So number 11, the White House Wildcats. Number 11.
Okay. We
have a tie for 9th, Nacogdoches and Pine Tree. Tied for 9th.
Okay.
8th place, Hallsville. Then we have a tie for 6th place with Legacy and Marshall.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Fifth place. Hold on, Corey. Oh, wait. We'll get to you here in a minute. 5th place is Lufkin. 4th place, Mount Pleasant. 3rd place, Tyler High. 2nd place, Texas High. And the number 1 team this week, preseason poll, Longview. Thoughts?
I mean, I'm not mad at it. I went back and forth on the Longview and Texas High myself. At first, I picked Longview, and then I went back and decided against and went with Texas High. I mean, it could go either way, to be honest with you. And I mean, it's a preseason poll. You can't look too much into it.
We're guessing it. We're guessing at this point.
Guess. There's no educated way around it. It's just for fun. So, I just said, you know what? I'm gonna stick with this Texas High.
Yeah, Corey and I did have Longview. They had 29 points for this week's poll, which is, only you can max out at 30. So,
yeah.
It's.
I was looking kind of like, what's everybody else? Because I'll be honest with y'all, I don't know as much about the 6A, 5A teams as some of the smaller schools. Just by how they did last year, we covered some of them. We put some scores up. We really weren't really focused in on them, like seeing how they were doing. So I went and kind of read some things. The big thing that stuck out with me is Longview's got a lot of players coming back.
They do.
They've got double the players coming back that left. And, you bring back that much talent from a pretty good team from last year, and Longview's Longview. They're always going to be good. but you return that much. I just think it's going to be a good year for them. What do you think, Corey? You had a number one.
Longview.
Yeah.
It's Longview. I mean, they might have one of the best wide receivers in the country. Like, literally.
Did he commit yet? Did he commit somewhere yet?
No, not yet. I think he was a junior. So,
okay.
I mean, they have one of the best wide receivers in the country. Their preseason, ranked, and they should be. They had a young after they won state, and they kind of got depleted a little bit. I mean, it's Longview. They're always gonna be able to run the football. They're always gonna be able to play defense. They're always gonna have 4 or 5 guys that's 4-star and above. And it's the simple thing about that. Texas High is good too. I don't want to take anything away. Texas High was a young football team last year, and it's kind of one of those years like
they're D2. So
yeah.
You're looking at 2 different classifications. Longview is a bigger school, and so they're not going to be competing against them. What shocked me though? What shocked me?
But it's Texas
this year shocked. Yeah, it's what shocked me, and I had a double take. Is there's a lot of folks that have Lufkin missing the playoffs this year.
Lufkin wasn't that good. Lufkin wasn't good last year.
Lufkin was young. Lufkin was young.
It don't matter. They ain't putting it together. You got to prove it. I mean, to be honest with you, this is also the reason why I went against my Longview pick, because I did go back and look, and I'm like, okay, Longview was actually 9-4. They playing some big schools and stuff, but then I'm looking at Texas High, and I'm like, Texas High is 12-1. I'm like, it could be one of those things where they on a roll. They may have lost a few people, but they closing in on a title. So, that right there for me was enough to say, let me just edge Texas High above Longview. But the Lufkin thing, man.
I don't blame you for that. I don't blame you for that. I mean, it was close for me there.
Yeah, and like I said, I picked Longview at first, and then I went off of that. I went back and looked at that, and I was looking at some other stuff, some people that they had returning. I was trying to find this dude's name for Texas High, and if I could pull it up here, I kind of saw this one cat, and I was like, you know what? I like the measurements. I can't lie. I'm a big fan of measurements.
So Texas High, Vince has 24 returning. They lost 30, so they lost a little over half their team from last year's 12-1. They made it to the regional finals. So
they did, and so that's why I'm saying, I'm like, okay, they lost half the team, but again, this could be the making of them getting to that this could be we got close. We're gonna push even harder next year with a new group of guys. I mean, because losing everybody is not that bad. I mean, we lost some guys too, but everybody's still looking at us like.
And here's the key, Vince, and losing people, but who are you adding?
Who are you adding? Okay, so now see. So that's the thing we don't know. That's the question mark.
Yeah,
that's the question mark. So I am rolling the dice. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's a sure shot. I'm rolling the dice, but I just got a feeling that they got something else in the tank.
I just think those two, and Corey's going to he has his poll a little differently, but I think my thinking was it was those two, and then the next tier down, it was a pretty big drop off. I thought. Now.
It was
Corey here had Lufkin number 2. Corey, what did you see?
Listen, Lufkin's not gonna have a bad year, 2 bad years in a row. I mean, they're not gonna have 2.
That's too big of a gap, man.
They were young.
How many games did Lufkin
I don't care about that.
Was it 3, 4? 4?
Listen, I don't care about the gap.
Like the gap.
I think they were 4 and 6.
That's too much to recover from. Lufkin
went 4 and 6.
Okay,
they did not make the playoffs. They were 3 and 5 in district play.
So check this out. What I'm saying is this. I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying that it's not impossible. What I'm saying is that you got a lot of work to put in, and people who already know your system, already know what you like to do. I don't want to say they got your number, but I'm saying you got to come with something extra. You know,
you don't think they will?
It in a situation where like
that sophomore quarterback that they had as a senior now. Like they had a sophomore quarterback that played a couple of years. He's a senior now. A lot of their backfield and their wide receivers are young.
But he was a junior the year before.
And they're seniors now.
They seniors now. But that same group went 4-6. Is what I'm saying to you.
Listen, I
don't know.
They returned 15 starters, 8 on offense, 7 on defense. So that's more than what two.
That's enough experience, baby.
That's a lot. That's a lot coming back.
I hear what you're saying. You're not saying anything wrong. Not at all. I'm just saying I'm going by gut feelings. Like it just feels like they're gonna be okay.
And see, I have
9 to 10 games. I can see they do 9 to 10 games.
I have Lufkin number 7, and I have them low because of last year. Now they come out and play somebody first week or two, and they knock off some names, then I'll move them up. But I think that's part of the reason. It's preseason. You can only gather on what they did the previous year and what you know about them coming up. And I don't know enough about Lufkin personally to bump them up that high. I want them to earn on the field. If they're Lufkin of past and they're going to come out and show me something the first couple weeks, I'll move them up. They'll climb fast. Because there's some teams that the reason I ranked them below some other teams was just because of what they did last year. That's all. Not because I'm like with Corey. I'm like Lufkin. They're probably not going to have 2 years in a row bad. But do we know that? We don't know what they've got coming back. So if they come in and press, easily can jump.
Even if they have a good year, what we're saying is, are they going to be better than some of these other guys you put them over?
Okay, let's look at the schedule. They got Longview, of course.
That's already got returning people. That's already on the road to trying to get in playoffs, and some of them trying to get that championship.
First game of the year is going to tell a lot about this team. If they blast Legacy, okay, I'm probably right. If Legacy blasts them, okay, I'm probably wrong. It's either going to be a big win or a big loss.
I've got Legacy number 6 in my poll.
Right.
So I've got them right there neck and neck. So whoever wins. I didn't
have Legacy that low at mine at all. So
Legacy's going to be decent. They're going to be decent.
Respect it. I put some respect on Legacy and Texas High.
Well, they lost a lot. They lost those backs. They lost the Legacy lost those pair of backs.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Yeah, they did. They did.
I'm gambling on what's gonna show up. You know, that's all.
You got some insight on what's showing up over there?
Yeah, I do know some players over there.
The team,
but and some of them I tried to get over to Chapel Hill. I've been talking, but it ain't gonna.
So it ain't gonna happen. All you had to do is just point. Just say ring.
Ring. I did that, but you know, like they in a really good spot where they at. So I respected that. I was like, you know what?
They might come over to Chapel Hill. They might not be able to start. Anyway.
Man.
I mean,
this one person I'm talking about, I'm telling you in a year or two, and young. I'm telling you in a year or two, everybody gonna know who this boy is.
He's got time to move over. We've got that sophomore group.
He's young, man, and hungry.
Hill's got
like I sat down and had a little bit of a conversation with him, and honestly, like I ain't dropping no names or nothing like that, but I'm just saying like he has that thing, that work ethic that you don't see kids his age have. You know, everybody say they want it, but everybody ain't out here all summer. You know, dog days of summer out here trying to get it in. Especially when your parents don't even really agree with playing this game like that. Like they don't agree with this being the number one option. To him, this is his way out. And he grinding hard like every day. I'm sitting over there. I'm like, yeah, where's such and such at? No, they out there working. In the heat, it's 110. Like, what are you doing? He was out there getting it in. Like he had a coach out there, but he out there by himself. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't see too many kids who have that work ethic. They talk about it, but they don't really exhibit that. And so I just, had a conversation with him and said, man, you know what? That right there is half the battle. It sounds like you finna be something dangerous, and this is your freshman year. I'm like, oh, you just a freshman. You working like you on varsity already. You know,
He might be.
But I did want him in. I did want him in,
Right.
in Chapel Hill. I was like, man, if I could convince your folks to get you over there, but he got some good people around him in over there at Legacy. So I was cool with that. But he just, like I said, I ain't saying that I know anything more about Legacy. I'm just saying I know they working on something. They got something brewing. So
I think they got some. I mean, the district is favorable for them.
Hey, so what was y'all's biggest surprise on these when I read these out? Like, whoa,
where's Mount Pleasant?
It can either be high or low. Like, oh man, I can't believe they're that high, or oh, I can't believe they're that low, or
where's Marshall and Mount Pleasant? Like, they're not. I don't. Mount Pleasant didn't get any respect. I got Mount Pleasant just as good as Texas High.
Mount Pleasant was ranked 4, but Tyler High is in between. You got,
Tyler High was one of those things where I really had to base it off of just what I have known and experienced with Tyler High.
You're based it on Tommy. It's what?
No, nothing like that. Nothing like that. I really just based it off the fact that when you look at the overall body of work year to year, they put together pretty good teams. Now it's weird because with them, it's kind of how the Dallas Cowboy fans can be sometimes. If they ain't at the state game, sometimes everybody hot and they like, oh, they ain't did this and they ain't did that. But the fact that you coming out of that district like that, especially sometimes when your back is against the wall and still being able to put up a decent show. I mean, man, I was like, I got to give them some respect. I got to put some respect on their name.
Yeah, they got Lancaster newly inserted in their district. I think that's a big name to insert in that district. Lancaster. You look at their
Lancaster
10-2 last year. They won their district last year, 8-0. So them and Longview look to probably battle it out for district, and then you got Tyler High there, predicted to be third by Dave Campbell's Texas High School Football. So if you don't have this magazine, go pick it up.
Go get it.
Yeah, I tried to order mine.
Go get it, baby.
Oh yeah,
right here.
Yeah.
Everybody. Okay. I guess I'm the one taking L's. Okay.
Listen, right, y'all know what I'm about. Y'all know this is all I wait for. The basketball thing. Let's be honest. Basketball thing was cool. That's cool. It was cute. But this is what I do.
Hold on, wait a minute.
And this is what I do.
It's cute.
And I'm excited that Vince is going to be out. Hopefully, most of the games this year, we're gonna have Vince out with me doing some commentary.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get out there.
Yeah,
I'm trying to work out my schedule right now. Unlike Corey, I technically started a new position, and
another one. I thought you just had a new job.
Well, technically that one. I think I talked to you about it already. So it's just been a grind, and I don't get my hours are different. So I used to get off a lot earlier when I was supposed to, and now dealing with what I'm doing as far as managing these other guys and stuff, it don't always happen like that for me. So I'm trying to make some time, and there's some other things going on I'll talk to you guys about later. But I'm at a point where I have to almost make a schedule.
Okay.
Because it's just so much.
Here's schedule.
I'm trying to get that Friday night thing.
Every Friday night at 7:30. Then you need to be at wherever we're broadcasting. Then again, we'll be on Dave Campbell's Texan Lives this year for football. Mm-hmm. We'll have the Chapel Hill broadcast every week, hopefully for the next 15, 16 weeks once the season kicks off. And it's gonna be a fun season. But yeah, I'm just ready for some football. This poll talk's got me. It's got me ready. Was there anything else on the poll that y'all saw? I know Corey said Mount Pleasant. I'm not really familiar with Mount Pleasant in football. They're been pretty solid in basketball over the last 5 or 6 years.
I feel like, and this is just me, I'm probably gonna be dead wrong on this, but I feel like White House is not gonna put. There's no way they're not gonna put that same team on the field. That same situation they had last year. I feel like they're gonna fight back. I feel like they're gonna probably be one of the most improved teams that's on this list.
Okay.
But I could be wrong.
Hey, I like that prediction. That's like one of those long shot predictions there. There's nothing wrong with that. I think on this list, just looking down it, just realizing the way that the classifications have changed in East Texas. I mean, there was a couple of years ago there was 2 5A districts complete. And you've had Lindale drop down, you've had Jacksonville drop down, you've had who else has dropped down out of that's bound to 4A. There was several. I mean, you had 2 full districts.
I don't remember the ones that dropped.
But there were 2 districts
there
that
were
in
a lot.
5A. Now I think it kind of it coincided when they did the split in 5A. Because they used to do 5A all together like 6A, and then they split it for like when the playoffs started. So they would seed them. They would put the biggest playoff team left in the that they seeded them and put them in the class. So I think that might have been when they split. So that might be why there was so many more teams. But it seems like, especially since then, you've got Legacy out there on the island by themselves, basically in 6A, and then all these. And you've got 2 districts of 5A. When I was looking through here, I was like, man, this is just not a whole lot. Which will make it easier for us to cover because they're going to be beating up on each other once district starts here, and we'll really know. Our poll will really, we may get to a point in the season where we're pretty much all on the same page once these teams starts playing each other and it really plays out about who's ranked who. Because again, all these teams are playing each other, so there'll be a lot of head-to-head matchups where we'll basically be kind of judging. Okay, do we think 5A, the Division I district, or 5A Division II districts better at some points?
I'm interested to see. I'm just kind of looking at Mount Pleasant. They went 5-6 last year, made the playoffs, got beat by an A&M school, College Station, and just kind of interested to see what their schedule looks like now. The district, they got Sulphur Springs, Liberty, Ilo. Then they got Pittsburgh starting out at week 1, and then of course you have Texas High, Marshall, Nacogdoches, White House, Pine Tree, and Longview. Not Longview, but Hallsville. Very winnable district. and, besides Texas High,
Marshall. Marshall
will be decent.
Marshall and Mount Pleasant, that'll be a good one.
Marshall's gonna be good. I think Marshall's gonna be pretty good. I just they've had I can't remember what they did. They went 8-4 last year. Got a new football coach, and anytime you have a new football coach that's used to winning, and he tried to come in and instill a winning attitude on a winning team already, that's not bad. They lost to Marshall, lost to Longview last year 14-0. Of course, they beat Pine Tree 17-0, beat Jacksonville 64-21. They competed, and of course they got blasted by Crosby. So they went too deep in the playoffs last year. So they're not a bad football team at all. And like I said, man, it only takes a little bit to get going. They make the playoffs and they can make a run. We all witnessed it last year. So like I said, I mean,
last two seasons, really.
Right. You catch fire at the right time, and they can change everything you have. So I don't know. They're just Marshall's up there. Like I said, I'm giving a lot of respect to some teams. I mean, this is East Texas. I mean, I'm giving a lot of respect to some of East Texas schools. I'm not counting them out as far as making the playoffs because I don't count the Mesquite schools as a threat. They're in the district. I don't count those Mesquite schools as a threat. I really don't. Just to be honest with you, Lancaster is probably going to be the bigger threat. I mean, let's just be real. Not long, but Lufkin's been able to survive their region for years. That Conroe, Humble region where they just dominated for like 8 or 9, 8 years in a row. Like no schools, they were the best team in that entire region. They just couldn't make it out, but now they're kind of slow back to East Texas region where they've been just depleted, and now everybody's picking on Longview. Not Lufkin, but it's not going to be long. You're not going to pick on Lufkin all over much. So
yeah, I've got a just a current event thing, and it doesn't really have anything to do with this poll, but it does have to do with East Texas football. What do y'all think about the Alto story?
That is interesting.
What a devastating time for those football athletes. Like, they had nothing to do with this. And Vince, did you hear about this?
So somebody brought it to my attention, but I didn't have time to dive into it.
So basically,
the
school basically shaved some enrollment figures, and it made them go from 2A Division I to 2A Division II, which put them in a district with smaller schools, and so they're actually too big to be in that district. So it makes them ineligible. That's what they've ruled. The UIL has ruled, so they won't be able to make the playoffs in football. Now, the other sports all combines, so that it will just affect football for the next 2 years.
Yeah,
I mean it
sucks.
That's awful. Like, can you imagine being a 16, 17-year-old kid looking forward to? Alto has great tradition. They're always a power. They're a small school in East Texas.
That sucks.
And you're not going to be able to make the playoffs. You got seniors that they have no chance of playing the playoffs. Juniors as well.
All because
that's a shame. That's a shame that some adults have done that. Yeah. I don't know the exact how they did it, but evidently they made the numbers fit lower so that they could be in the lower.
So they can be in. So so in other words, I guess is what I'm saying. It was a little malicious on their end, right?
That's
somebody.
According to what they found, yes.
But I didn't think it was. I thought it was the other way around, where they jumped up a classification and they couldn't compete in the classification.
Because you can always move up.
You can always go up.
There's schools. There's.
But imagine a school trying to go down, knowing that they're going to be the biggest school if they go down. Now
so imagine like Chapel Hill. All of a sudden they're rolling. They're 3A Division I. Now we're playing against these schools that we have way more kids, and that's the problem. You can't play more now. If we want to move up and challenge ourselves, like some of the big schools, Dallas and Houston, what they'll do to stay with their ISD, they'll ask to move up and play with their schools so that it makes it for traveling and district purposes. They'll do that. So like they'll request to jump up to 5AD2 to be with the rest of their fellow Dallas ISD.
Some of that makes sense. That makes sense.
But that's kind of what it's.
It's crazy because, like, man, people say a lot of people think that the classification 5A, 6A has more to do with the sport and how good somebody is. Like, that's always like the talk around that. But I always tell people, like, that has nothing to do with it. It's always about the kids that are in the school, the number of kids in the school. Mm-hmm. And so what makes a team better and when they're in a bigger, let's say they're in a 6A versus a 5A, what makes that 6A team a little bit better is the fact that they got a bigger pool of kids to choose and pull talent from than some others.
The only reason it would be different than that, Vince, would be if you have a better quality pool. Like you go through that's how some of these smaller schools sometimes you'll see how they can compete like every so often, and like once in a 10-year period, you have this class or two that come through and they have that pool that can compete against these other schools, but it doesn't happen very often. You're more likely to have more quality players in a bigger school because of the fact that you have more numbers. That's why it's so surprising sometimes when you have these schools that, like, how do they get so good? Do they get a bunch of transfers, or it's just one of those years that they
it's just one of those years. It's their time sometimes. But then there's other cases where it's like trying to think of I can't think of a school off the top of my head, but here's
a case right here. It's one of the most no, I wasn't going to go there, but it's the most it's most complained about school that in Texas. It's Allen. Okay, they refuse to break up that school. They could have probably 2 or 3 6A schools. They have like a 7,000 something enrollment, but they don't want to because they want to have one big super school.
Yeah,
and then basically have the bigger pool of kids, just like you're talking about. That's
in Argyle like that too. Argyle is just one big. That's the only school they got out there, or something like that.
No, Argyle, they have a way of getting good athletes to their school.
Now they can recruit too. But what I'm saying, I think that out there where they are, there's I ain't gonna say there's not another school. There's just not another good school like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so everybody kind of funnels to Argyle. Is what I was told once by somebody.
They've been blessed to grow prosperously over the past 10 years. Because they were like 3A, they were a small 3A school, now they're like a 5A.
Yeah, they're 5A now. I'm glad they're out of our classification. That's kind of like Highland Park. Now they're 6A. I mean, back in the day, we were playing them in the playoffs. You know, that's how
Prosper was 3A, and now they're a 5A. That whole little 380 quarter, I don't want to get on that because all those schools
somebody. We don't know who you are. We're doing great. How are you? Put your name. We'd love to hear from you, whoever that is. Not sure who we're talking to.
Yeah, I'm not sure who that is.
Right. Put a name on
it. But yeah, I thought that was an interesting story. I mean, it's sad for that program and those kids, but man, it's just shows to show like sometimes people take things way too seriously. Like if that was the case and that really happened.
And it sucks in a way. I feel like it's almost like a death penalty for their football team because when you think about it, if you're I say for me, if my child was playing on that team and now I find out for the next 2 years y'all can't play football, we finna move.
I'm just saying it
like I got to make sure my child is seen. So I'm not gonna sit here and wait on that.
Well, and here's the thing: you either move in for sure if you're a junior. Because you can transfer as a senior and get away with it as long as you transfer in the right time frame. So, if it's too late now, if they don't let you play this season out after football. If you don't like it, if you're not going to play in their sports, just transfer out, get in the spring with the new team. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they lost a couple of kids from that.
I mean, I'm sure they will. I mean, there's how many kids play and for different schools every year. They just move from school to school every year. Like that stuff happens, man. And I used to be against it, but you got to make we in a digital age now where content is king. So you got to make sure your kids get seen, man. You have to. I know I didn't want to agree with it before, but man,
I'm not going to agree with it.
Matter of fact, I'm going to put it to you like this. I saw on Twitter, there was I think he was 14 or 15-year-old kid. He was like 6'4". He looked like he may have been like 275 or something like that. He was swole. He had his shirt off and he was in the gym. They took a picture of him in the gym. You know how big that image blew up just because he took that and posted it on his page. And it's funny because I brought it up to somebody else and they saw it too. And
he probably got offers off that
that alone, bro. Off of that alone, my job is to get my kid into school. I don't care how I do it.
So I don't care how I do it. So this is my point. I'm glad you brought that up. This is my point. I see what you're saying, but it also teaches kids not a good lesson.
I know
it's really not a good lesson. Okay,
but I got to do it
just because something that doesn't go in your favor. Corey, you know what? Quit. I quit. I'm leaving. I don't start. I'm not starting. Okay, well, let's go over here so you can start.
Listen to me, Corey. I agree with you, but I gotta do it.
So Corey, you're telling me.
So when you go to college, so you go to college. Now you go to college. All right. Now you have the opportunity to go to college.
It's different.
Oh, it's not different. Same thing in college. Same thing.
No. Let him finish it. Let him finish it. Come on, Corey.
Okay.
No. What you saying?
No. Give me the scenario.
The transport portal is a mess already. You can ask any college coach. They're not going to say it publicly. It is a mess, and they hate it. All right. And so I don't like the way. Well, coach recruited me to start. Well, there's 6 other quarterbacks. Well, I'm just gonna leave. So you're not going to compete?
But that's
Is
not.
that what you're telling me? So you're not going to compete?
That's not the same thing, Corey. Okay, this
But
situation
how
is
is it not
different.
the same thing?
This is different. The kids didn't do anything wrong. This kid's competing. He may start, but he's not gonna.
Y'all are both right. It's not the same thing.
This,
Corey, let me just address you
for that
quick.
situation with the school, I understand that part.
We just had
that's the only thing I'm arguing.
The Longhorns.
Yeah, no, I understand that
part.
part.
The Longhorns, where now we're looking at getting the Manning kid, right? And you understand them other quarterbacks that were already there, they're already bailing, right? You understand that, right? Why would they stay and sit behind him?
They're not bailing. Manning's gonna sit. He's gonna sit as a freshman.
Yeah, he's supposed to redshirt.
He's gonna redshirt.
He's gonna redshirt the first year.
Yeah,
that's the room he's redshirting.
Yeah, have you seen him? He needs in the weight room. He's gonna be good, but he needs to get strong and fat.
Trust me, I would think so. But I mean, it's a Manning, so I know how some people get. And so I wouldn't be surprised
my thing
if I
is
saw
this
him on
though.
the field.
My thing is this though. I'm gonna bring up Kyler Murray because we talked about Kyler Murray on our podcast before. How I dislike the way he does things, him and Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield, I understand, I got you. But Kyler Murray's a little spoiled, okay? He doesn't like competition. He doesn't want to be put over against. He was at AM and all of a sudden, well, you got all these quarterbacks. Well, I got to compete. Well, I don't want to go anywhere where I can compete. So I'm just going to leave and go to Oklahoma. Anywhere he goes, he has to be the number one guy. Doesn't matter if my job is to bring in the best player. And if I recruited 2 5-star quarterbacks in the same classification, guess what? You're going to compete. I'm not just going to give you the job. Like the entitlement is crazy, bro.
He's still competing. He just moved and competed somewhere else. He lost his competition there.
No, he moved to a spot where they needed a quarterback right away, and there was no other competition there. So he just
that's okay too.
In. It's perfectly. It's perfectly. That's okay. It's okay. That's fine.
What was the guy? Brett, help me out here. What Longhorns had a guy quarterback a few years ago.
Major Applewhite.
Buechele?
No.
Buechele.
Not Buechele.
You talking about the guy that went to SMU? I know.
He went to SMU.
I can't think his name now.
It's
not. I can't think his name now.
He's in the pros league, but
he went bad. I can't think his name, but Championship came and took his spot.
When Colt McCoy got hurt in the championship game.
Oh no, you're talking about you're talking about the guy from Lake Travis. Yeah.
Gilbert.
And so he started the next year, and then he lost that competition the year after that. He was terrible. He was. But he lost the competition. And you know what he did? He went up and he went somewhere else where he could play. But doing that is, in my opinion, is why he got into the league. It's because
if he'd have sat there behind
somebody, nobody sees him anymore. And the thing is, what are we gonna remember about him? What did Brett just say? He was terrible.
So here's
two sides. I'm a Texas fan. I never watched him.
Well, listen, you can look at it this way. You can look at it this way. You can look at it as he left to go to a better opportunity, or you can also look at it as, you know what, I'm better than this guy beside me. I'm gonna beat him out of his own game. I'm gonna beat him because I came here first. I came here second. I'm gonna beat him.
If you lose, I'm saying if you lose,
but
I'm not mad if you decide to go somewhere else. I respect you if you stay. Don't get me wrong.
I think y'all are both correct. There's two ways to look at it. I think y'all each have a side, and here's my say on this. Okay, so I agree with Corey. You've got to compete. But if you lose, you lose and you have an opportunity to go play and get yourself in the league to where you want to get to, I think you take it. I think you take that. Okay? But I agree with Corey. If Kyler, I don't know the Kyler Murray situation personally, but if he just didn't try to compete, he wanted that job handed to him, and that's why he left. Then I don't like that. I think you should compete. If you lose, you might hang out for that 1 year to see if you can get in, like someone gets hurt. Yeah. But after that, there's no use you sitting there for 3 or 4 years, unless you're not trying to get in the league. If your dream, like my University of Texas would have been a dream to sit behind somebody, I probably would have been fine with that. I'm probably I'm not going to the league. I'm going to get a real job and I'm done. but I'm gonna get
Do
my
you remember
degree
the
from the
quarterback's
University of
name
Texas.
that sat behind Trevor Lawrence, that sat in front of Trevor Lawrence and then lost his spot? Do you remember that dude's name?
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence was like third on the depth chart.
Exactly. And then the starting quarterback got hurt. And when he wasn't hurt no more, he had lost his spot. And you know what he did? He stayed there.
Yeah.
He stayed there. And that's why I'm asking, do you remember his name? Because nobody does.
I don't remember his name.
Because he stayed there and he went nowhere. That's where it ended for him. That's what I'm saying. Like,
here's the other thing, too.
I want you to compete. I do. I really want you to compete. But what I'm saying is once you realize competition's over, it's his. It's Trevor Lawrence's spot now.
But
it's time.
This is what you also have to realize too. But this is what you also have to realize too. You have to also go somewhere where you can play. You know, everybody can't be at Texas. All the quarterbacks can't be. All the quarterbacks can't be at Alabama.
All the linemen are coming to Texas. Man.
Until we find a true quarterback, we can have every quarterback we want.
But I'm saying though, like every kid can't be at like. Okay, the big question is, as a parent, you're a parent, how many quarterbacks you're recruiting? Well, we got 6. No, I'm not going to Texas. Why? Well, no, that's too much. Like, why? I'd rather go to Houston.
You got 6.
I'd rather be a 5-star and go to Houston.
People are talking about but you know already who gonna, you know what I'm saying, who the starter might be or who's in.
But then you have to go and compete again. Then I see the point. Okay, I got to go and compete. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Like ahead of time. If I'm going to University of Texas, how many quarterbacks I'm getting recruited? How many quarterbacks are you recruiting? How many quarterbacks into what number would I be? Oh, you're number 7. Number 7? Like I'm gonna redshirt twice? What do you want me to do? Like I'm ready to play.
I agree.
You see what I'm saying? So don't go and expect for them. Well, I'm leaving. I didn't get a chance to play. You should have known that. You were number 7. Go where you can play.
I will say this, and this is the one time I'm gonna give them their respect. I'm gonna give them their flowers. The only place that works is Alabama. Because at least at Alabama,
if you play, you go to the pros.
In 4 years, you're gonna get a ring, and you might go to the pros, and you may not
even
play.
If you play at Alabama, you going to the pros. That's if you play at Alabama, you going
down, and you going
like.
I gotta give them roses. They did it the right way.
Look at the Georgia defense.
Do you understand? You understand why Nick Saban was mad about the whole paying players and all of that? You know, it's just because he did it the right way. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't paying nobody. He just grinded and got a good team. I mean, some might say he inherited a team, but he did it. He did it the right way.
It's legalized. They legalized giving players money.
I do not agree with the fact that for the longest the system benefited him without him having to play bigger talent up front at the beginning of every season. But at the same time, he did do it in a way. He did. He dealt with what he played the hand he was dealt, pretty much.
That's a good hand.
But
that's
now,
a flush every time
now that you're paying everybody, I ain't got to go to Alabama no more. I'm finna go make my money at Syracuse.
Okay, guys, let's get focused back here a little bit. I know we can talk probably college football all evening. That was good, some good talk there.
I'm not going to Syracuse, bro.
You give me $2 million and watch me put my name on that piece of paper.
Let's talk about
you'll transfer to Tulane. All right.
Let's talk about what NETsn's got coming up for the next couple of weeks here. Wednesday night at 8:30. Next week we'll have our 4A poll show. Should be some really good conversation. It's going to be a lot to talk about next week. It's one classification, but a lot of talent coming through. So I'm looking forward to see
next week
how the comparisons are with the polls and see because it's not going to be as easy these next 2 weeks on the polls. Just somebody that's already done their poll. It was tough. I had to really do a little research.
Y'all not gonna like me next week. Y'all not gonna like me next week. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay. Well, you kind of give yourself away if we don't like you.
Okay, that's fine. You just not gonna.
So we've got that next week. Then the following week we'll have our 3A, 2A poll show. And if anybody knows East Texas football, those little schools always have a say in who wins state So that should be a really good group of schools. So that should be a great show as well. And then the following week, that'll be the week before football starts. So we'll have our big preseason show. We'll talk about all the big matchups in week 1. We'll talk about any classification. We'll take questions from our viewers as always. If y'all have any questions about, any school around the area, that we will talk about whatever. But we're going to go through that. We'll also that'll be our first week for our pick'em contest. We'll see if the guys can stay with the pick'em champ this year. As last year was a little easy. I'm hoping for a little bit more competition this year, fellas.
I told you I'm not doing it like I did last year. Okay, I'm actually picking this year.
Because last year you just picked the long shots. That's who you picked last year.
Yeah, I did the long shots.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, y'all remember? You guys remember what I said last year about? I'm gonna say what I did last week. I said it last year. Y'all were like, what? Y'all know what I'm talking about? The team that we're gonna cover. The teams that we're gonna cover. I mentioned that school last year, and I said this is that year. Okay. I just want y'all to know. Let's bring that up.
Okay. Speaking of that, again, we will be covering on Dave Campbell's Texan Live this year. We'll be doing the broadcast for the Chapel Hill Bulldogs football season. So myself and Corey will be, myself and Vince will be there for most weeks. Corey is going to kind of be working on some things in the background. You'll see him pop up every so often. But what Corey's been working on, and what I want to kind of bring to light here, is he's going to be working on our basketball schedule this year. Again, we're going to be branching out, doing some other games, some tournaments. So if you go to a school, your kid goes to a school, you're from a school, and you'd like to see us cover some of your games, reach out to us. We're looking to branch out. We will be doing Chapel Hill basketball again this year. We'll be covering quite a few of their games. But we're looking to branch out and doing some other schools, maybe some tournaments. If there's something you want to see, reach out. And Corey's going to kind of,
absolutely,
as Vince and I are kind of focusing on football season, Corey's going to be taking in. Also, if you're willing to sponsor us for any season or our show or anything, reach out to us for that as well. I also want to mention our Twitter account at NETsn_live. Mm-hmm. We are at 974 followers, guys. Come on. Can we get to 1,000 before next week? Come on, can we get us to 1,000? So share our Twitter account. I've been really trying to push some information and content out through it. So just we always are trying to get information out through the Twitter. So that's our goal. We want to try to hit that 1,000 mark. I think we can do it.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
So
the disrespect will be televised.
Speaking of Twitter, where can they guys follow y'all at?
Oh yeah,
at PrinceB83.
Yeah, I'm up to 100 now. Twitter's like, I don't know. Twitter's funny.
I think I'm about 200. I'm at like 200 something now.
I'm at 122.
Okay.
Oh, that's okay. This is gonna be disrespectful. Okay.
Okay. So basically, we got a contest between the.
I ain't starting no contest because I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't use Twitter.
I'm up to 227 Twitter followers myself.
I don't use Twitter that much. I got to start posting some content on there.
Yeah.
So.
Well, there'll be some content coming up. We'll have things to post about.
I can retweet a bunch of stuff. Yeah. I just forgot how to retweet properly.
Okay. But yeah, so make sure you follow us on social media. Make sure you go to our Facebook page, NETsn Live, and like our page, our Twitter, our Twitch. If you like Twitch, we have things on there. We'll be streaming things when we go live during basketball on there. Also have our YouTube channel, which has all our content. You can go back and watch any of the content that we have on there. And yeah, it's pretty much it. Y'all got anything else for this week? Any thoughts? Closing?
Oh, I don't have anything just yet. It's a brand. I'm excited. I don't know about anybody else, man. This is it's high school football coming up. I'm
excited too. I mean, anybody that listened tonight, make sure you share our information. If you liked our show, send us some comments. Tell us what you liked, what you didn't like.
Share it with your friends. Tell everybody.
Yeah.
Tell everybody.
Like I said, we're going to be hitting more teams this year. So we're trying to branch out. So share it with anybody you know. Said this is going to be your go-to weekly show to talk high school football in East Texas.
Yeah, absolutely. Hit me up on Twitter. I like to discuss things. I like to argue a little bit. It's all fun and games, but I do like to do a little arguing. Makes the day go by pretty fast for me.
Yeah, it does. Well, I enjoyed it tonight, guys. That was pretty good show here. I hope everyone enjoyed it there at home. For Vince and Corey, I'm Brett. We'll catch you next time right here on NETsn Preseason Poll Show. Good night, everybody.
Peace.